let's talk about 100K level failures. If you would like to know what that look like and whether you will like it or not. And also maybe you will compare to how you might be failing and how you might be dealing with them. This might be a helpful episode for you to hear from my experience, right? Before I dive into explaining my experience of failures at this level, I would like to update you on some of the things that are going on so that you are also informed of following through my journey. Following through my journey to the humanitarian millionaires. So, one of the updates is that we celebrated, well, me mainly celebrated 15K followers on LinkedIn, and I'm so stoked about it. Another one that I feel very proud of is me having hired a staff member or team member and doing it without any drama, any, I don't know, any problems or any uh, extensive thought processes or any of those things, extensive recruitment processes, right? And having been able to do that without any of those and having made a decision and explaining to her and also getting her feedback and then hiring one of my clients was also a very amazing experience. And I was telling someone else who also showed interest in working with me, I was telling her that I have had in the past my principles as to how I would like to do hiring process. And the first is really someone who knows and understands my philosophy of how I create results in life and how I create impact in life. And second is that I would like to have someone on board who has also done similar type of impact or results in their lives so that they know what it takes to get to that outcome, right? So that's on the update side. Plus, I think I'm about 4 or 5% of my goal. I still have 95% of the goal to go, and it's May 15th, 2026. So I was thinking today, this morning, that why haven't I really panicked about it or like thinking about feeling behind or I should be doing more. All of those things does not even occur to me somehow. And I was really feeling the reason why that is because I have from the beginning approached this goal not from the ego perspective of I have to get it done so that I look good or so that everyone thinks I'm cool or whatever. But I have approached it from what if I'm already that person, that identity who makes such level of impact? And then how this shows up in my physical reality, we will find out, right? So therefore, I feel good about having achieved this level, and I feel good about also continuing pursuing it, no matter what the numbers say, right? Because you remember, I am practicing what I preach, which is not letting the external circumstances dictate how I feel about things, not letting other people's judgments dictate how I feel about things. So, therefore, whatever the numbers that are showing up, I'm fine with it because I would love to develop the skill sets and explore my identity that brings me to the $1 million and how I can make impact through that. That's what I would love to find out through this journey. So now let's come to the 100K level failures and how they may look like. And because I have done a lot of work on not attaching failures to my worthiness issues, and I have resolved my worthiness issues. So, therefore, any of the failures don't feel like shame, embarrassment, or anything about me anymore. So I'm very grateful about it. And also, it has no like stressing and pressuring effect on me. And I feel great about that as well. So, therefore, all of those things that might feel stressful, pressury, shameful, embarrassing, vulnerable, all of those that many people may face might be mainly happening because you still haven't resolved the worthiness issues. So I have done a great webinar recently, and I will actually place it in the membership journey membership. If you are part of it, you will watch it. So the way that it feels for me currently, the failure is it feels like energetically not giving all energetically, not being fully dedicated all of the time, not feeling fully present and going all in all of the time. And I will explain and my reasoning and all of this in a minute. But I want to also explain to you what I have come to define as failure in my own journey of pursuing grand and big goals, right? So my definition of failure is whatever the result that I have set out to do in a week time. So I have goals, specific tangible goals for each week. And if I haven't achieved them, then I start looking at what were the reasoning why I haven't achieved them, and how I will course correct it for the next week, right? So failure from that perspective is a certain result hasn't happened. I didn't make that happen. And here are the reasons why. Is it the reasoning of action taking? Is it the reasoning of energy behind it? Is it the reasoning of mindset behind it or identity behind it? And I start looking at it and then solving for them. So 100K level failure for me currently is not hitting the weekly results that I have set out to do for myself. And excuse me. And I was looking at how best to explain this. And the way that I can explain is that I feel like currently I'm in two modes. And maybe for many humanitarians who are transitioning, this might be also very applicable, is they also feel like they're in two modes, either in the giving their all, right? Giving their all, meaning fully showing up, fully doing the things necessary, feeling great about doing it, believe that this is exactly what they want to be doing, all of this. So, giving all is the one mode, and the other mode is the transactional mode, I'm calling it. So the transactional mode looks like I'm only going to do this if it yields the result I want, right? That's the transactional mode. And I have noticed myself being so much in the transactional mode lately, especially last week or this week rather. And I have been then exploring and understanding why that is, right? So, in other words, why am I saying to myself that this is the audacious goal and bold goal that I want to go for? This is the boldest value making journey I want to go on. And at the same time, I am being transactional with my goal, right? I am being transactional with my own set out decided outcomes. So, as I have been exploring why that is within myself, right? So, whatever the failure that I have, as I said, I will be looking at is it the results failure? Is it the action failure? Is it the energetic failure? Or is it the thinking process failure? Or is it the identity failure that I look at all of these different levels? And I was looking at this one and I was looking at, okay, if I'm being transactional, right, with myself, then it's usually an energetic level, meaning that I have some feeling there that's not allowing me to go all in and do the things and giving my all, and taking those actions, creating so much value, and then creating those results, right? And I was looking at, okay, why is that, right? Why am I being in the transactional side and not on the giving my all side? And one of the main thoughts that keep coming up that is creating this transactional energy, and it might be also true for you, which is it won't work anyway. Right? I think I talked about this in different ways before, but I'm really like looking and analyzing and understanding what that actually means and why my brain keeps coming up with that reasoning, because of which I am becoming transactional with my own boldest goals. So there might be many reasoning, obviously. For many of you who are in that place or who feel in that place, might be simply because you don't even believe that this level of outcome is possible for you, right? And that's why your brain keeps going into the energy saving mode and saying, okay, since we know that we can't reach that level, let's just save the energy and keep going to the safe options available, right? And to an extent, that's also what my brain is currently doing. My brain is saying, okay, you've never done that level of growth and that level of outcome in your life before. Therefore, since we know that it won't work anyway, then why spend all of this energy and effort and creating this level of value? And why not just stay in the keep doing things the same way that I have always done, right? But the key part that I recognize for myself through all of these learnings of my own experience is that this is exactly what happens when your old identity is being released and new identity being embodied in your inner system, right? And since I know that so well, that yes, this is just my old identity talking, which is, oh, let's just keep doing things the way we have always done. It won't work anyway. And I no longer want to have that identity or associate with that identity because I would like to grow. So therefore, I'm then looking at all of my reasoning as to why it would still make sense and would be very valuable to my own growth that I go all in, even in situations when my energetically inner system keeps stalling and keeps stopping me and keeps making me fail, right? So why would still be worth for me go all in and do the things that I have set out to do? And in this regard, I was doing shorts on TikTok and I was talking about how in every failure moment, it seems like we have a choice to make. And that choice is which of the identities we are reinforcing, right? The old identity where we're not good at following through, we are good at giving up on ourselves, we are good at leaving things halfway and not go all the way. Are we reinforcing that identity, or are we reinforcing the identity that we're building, which is being the person who follows through, who decides and implements, who is full in, and all of this. And I would like to reinforce that the second identity, obviously. But also, I was contemplating on how a lot of humanitarians who talk to me and when I coach them, we often realize that we have that automatic reaction or automatically habitual professional behaviors that we have when we work for the system, right? We when we work for the system, we tend to be so dedicated and all in and doing all the things. And we become very different professionals. But when it comes to pursuing now our own dreams, it just becomes like a very big battlefield, right? So the reason why that's happening obviously is because we are saying it won't work anyway. And the reasoning behind it or assumption behind it then is that it's not really safe, or we don't have evidence, or it might be an energy consuming enterprise that then yields nothing. While in the system, when we're working, because the system gives us that huge feeling of safety and security, and possibly even predictable rewards in the form of promotion, then we keep being dedicated and doing all the things, and it feels very easy to do that. Now, obviously, therefore, my work then is when I notice my own failures in this way, then my work is okay, I see that I'm not really either believing that I'm this type of person who can create this level of results. And that means that I need to expand my identity, my capacity, right? And that's what I'm working on. And second, I'm also working on, okay, how do I then decide what to do with this level of failure that I'm noticing myself going through? I'm noticing that this is what's happening. I'm noticing this is what I'm doing or certain things I'm not doing. Then what am I going to do with this level of data to moving forward to the next week, for instance? Right? And that's really what I have been working on is I have been looking at, okay, I noticed myself this week having this level of failures and not creating those values that I wanted that yields the outcomes that I would like to. Therefore, knowing this happening all because of my initial energetically feeling it won't work anyway, excuse me. In other words, seeing myself as someone who is not capable of making this level of outcomes in life, right? And therefore, me working heavily on my capacity and my identity. Excuse me. And the way that I'm working on that is so that you are on board to understanding how that looks like is I am looking at how I can see myself, feel myself, embody myself being this type of person who creates this level of value and impact, right? What are the ways I could expand and feel and embody myself being that identity who can hold this level of value and impact and create this level of result? And the more I keep working on it, it's a bit of a tedious work. It's when I write down all of my objections within myself as to why I'm still not that person, and then looking at how I could be that person that I'm desiring, and how and what kind of actions I take and value I create from that identity, from that place. Okay, so that's why my lessons currently for myself as I go through this is first understanding, okay, what are the feelings that are going that is making me understand that I am in this energy of it won't work anyway, right? And how that's making me fail, meaning how that's making me not achieve the results of the week that I want to. And then solving for that, it won't work anyway by expanding my identity, expanding my capacity of being the person who can create this level of value. And then from that place, getting ready for the next week and start executing and implementing all the things that I would like to create the outcomes I would like. Okay. So for you, it might be also something similar in terms of failure, might be at the level of not even believing that you can do this. So that might be something you work on, getting coached or coaching yourself. And then once you start going on that process, on that journey of creating those type of bold outcomes, then the failure within the process will come up and you start understanding where that failures are coming from. and becoming the person, the identity of the person who solves that, and also starts recognizing where the old identity is leaving bit by bit, but also new identities coming in. But that process will be a bit challenging to handle. And I feel like I'm in that process currently where I'm handling or holding space for the old to release me and then the new to come in. And that will feel a bit, ugh, right? And that's okay. And knowing that that's how growth happens, I'm just sitting and observing instead of reacting to everything. And I just noticed that, oh, okay, I see that here I'm not really showing up. Here I am showing up, but little. Here I'm energetically not giving up. And then how do I go back to embodying the identity that I want that fully shows up? Okay, my dears, this is what is going on in my journey. And if you would like to work on your boldest, biggest dreams, I would love for you to do that with me. So if that's the case, then come coach with me. I will leave the link in the description. Have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you very soon.